Jennifer from Belladonna's Botanicals, and I wanted to bring you little bit of a message and my thoughts on it from a conversation with Azazel um, that came out of nowhere at some point in time. I'm going to say the last night or yesterday, don't know. But this is the message I got from Azazel, and that kind of as I was thinking about it, and it started with, "Are you here to save the world or destroy the world? I'm here to enjoy the world, to teach those to save, parentheses, heal themselves, and to destroy, parentheses, let go of that which no longer serves them. To lead by example is to teach others to lead and to not follow. We teach to dismantle structures and ideologies built on hatred and divisionary tactics or divisive, I don't know. We release the toxic elements and banish the energy to the permanent null void state." So it was a very short and simple one, and one I'm thinking about more because, yeah, that's a very powerful message. Because and in other videos I've talked about this sort of cult of personality, and when you have leaders and followers and things like that in any group, is that I guess the question I ask is, are those leaders teaching you to lead, or are you blindly following the leader? In some cases I see that, I'm not gonna lie. Both in good ways and bad ways. I've seen people really teach those around them to become empowered, to become better versions of themselves, to let go of those things that were holding them back and that no longer serve them in their ascension and in their spiritual growth. But it also depends on the message of that leader. And when you see leaders espousing, even sometimes in very subtle ways, hatred and intolerance, I don't give a fuck if people think we're terrorists kind of attitude, that's a hard pass. I look at what people are saying, who they are as a person, and how they are saying it. And there's some people that we may never agree on some issues, but we are allies, and we support each other. And but there are some people that you look at them and their messages and everything they do is just like they're here to destroy the world by any means necessary, even if it's just with perpetuating a cycle of negativity. Like like as people on the left-hand path, whether you identify as a theistic Satanist, a non-theistic Satanist, whether you're Luciferian, whether you practice black magic, whether you're just eclectic and do a little bit of everything. Right now, the Satanic Panic is a really weird, real and visceral thing. And I would prefer not to throw kerosene on the already lit fire. And I'm seeing some people doing that, of really like trying to push that edgelord envelope even further, of making us look even worse than what people think of us at this point. And I do not claim that energy. And this year for me has been one of, I am just letting go of a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of associations, personal, professional. I just have to look at things and go, does this serve me? Is this energy helping me or hindering me? And a lot of that too feeds into thinking about what my goals are and how I want to be perceived in my community as someone who is a content creator, as someone who is a business owner. I'm not an author at this point, but that's someday I will organize myself to get to that point. But as someone who wants to contribute to the greater occult society, that's why I decided to launch. And the first video will be coming. I don't know in what order I will be releasing these videos. It may already be out, maybe forthcoming. But the first video in the series that I'm doing on accessibility magic for those with that, like me, have neurodivergence, chronic pain, disability issues, mental health issues, things like that. So I'm going to be covering a wide array of topics that's something that I feel is really missing in the occult. And it started with someone asking just a simple question: are there any books out there on like accessibility, like making magic accessible? And I was like, no, but there should be. But in the interim, I'm going to make a YouTube series. So, yeah, I mean, I look at how I've had to adapt my practices, and I know I am not alone. So I am more than happy to share that with you. And I will probably have some guests on from time to time, but that's what I want to contribute on one level. I'm probably has something to do with my neurodivergence. But and also my Myers-Briggs type is, I think it's like an INFP, I think. But it's like I end up being that sort of introverted extrovert, or an extroverted introvert, that I like to be behind the scenes doing things, but somehow always end up in this kind of role. And I'm not always well suited for it just because of my constitution. When it comes to like my neurodivergence, I get very overwhelmed by things at times. Or, with various PTSD things, there's stuff that is hard for me to deal with at times. And there's the wonderful Jen's train of thought has derailed again. I'll take a sip of my tea. I'd recommend, this is the Florida water tea that Amy Blackthorn makes. Blackthorn, I think it's her website, Blackthorn Hoodoo Blends, something like that. The Florida water tea, amazing. Even my parents like it. I like very fruity, floral, spicy teas, and this has it all. So thank you for my commercial break while I collect my thoughts. But in this message that Azazel, or the conversation, and I feel like it harkens back to a conversation I had with someone maybe a few years ago, is that empowerment comes in many forms, but empowerment should not come in the form of causing harm to others by taking their power. So I know I probably sound like a broken record talking about this, but I've talked a lot because it has been a huge issue, and one that I have had to deal with a lot, is the misogyny in the occult. Now, I am all for men getting in touch with the divine feminine, or whatever, or not the divine masculine, if they want, and the divine feminine as well, getting in touch with that, and embracing masculinity in a non-toxic way, that it's not built upon putting women down and treating us like we're lesser, and acting either overtly or covertly in very misogynistic and sexist ways. That's not how you become empowered. And I know that is going to fall upon I would say deaf ears, but that sounds ableist. So that's going to fall upon people just have their fingers in the ears going, real loud. Because those type of people hate me for existing. So, but I'm here. I'm just carving my own little corner of the occult world. If you don't like me, you don't have to stay. I look at the way I want to build a community. I've been parts of numerous communities, various, not even occult related communities over the years. And most are or have been, for one reason or another, complete shit shows. That left me running and screaming and being like, and I swear, year after year, I'm never going to ever put myself in that position of being a community leader of any type again. But I think, as I've gotten older, I've just learned how to handle some things better. And, when it comes, not everyone is capable of being part of a community. I look at my community or my communities, regardless of what their surrounding is. I'm inviting you into my world, into my house. If you come into my house and break a bunch of stuff, steal things, not kick my cat, shit on the floor, you're not gonna be welcome back. That's kind of how I think of it. It's like, and the way I look at being a part of other people's communities too. It's like and you can outgrow a community, and I've outgrown communities before, or I've had to take a step back for one reason or another, or for whatever reason I just don't associate with that person anymore. Because you can't have a community without community drama, and oh holy hell, I could write a book on that. Yes, indeed. Ain't my first time at the rodeo. So, but yeah, it's look for community leaders that lead by example. You don't have to agree with everything they say, and the key there is, and I've mentioned this before, that should be okay. As long as it's all, I mean, like, there's always going to be a caveat for something. Like, if you're openly, trying to think of an example that won't get me YouTube algorithm buried or shadow banned. But generally, if you're not a Yahtzee or a fan of the no Germans, or espousing that kind of rhetoric, I'm talking about extreme circumstances. I really don't care about political parties at this point, as long as you're not trying to directly cause harm to me. Not to get political, but I'm not a political person by nature, so I just don't. I'm a living. My mantra is live and let live, and don't be a dick. That's pretty much it. I don't care. I don't care if you believe in what you believe in. It's not of concern to me, because being a free thinker means you're able to be a free thinker. Not all our thoughts are great. Some of them are occasionally, we question things, we're shitty, and unfortunately we live in a time and period of history where you have to be really careful about what you say, because you'll get canceled. Which also, anyways, it's a little fashy, but regardless of what spectrum you're coming from. But I would rather have a dialogue with someone about something I don't agree about, a disagreement, and see how we can meet in the middle or look at things from each other's sides. But when you're kind of in a situation, look at the leader that's telling you that you can only think what that you kind of have to fall lockstep in with what their line of thinking is, that there's no wiggle room to be drawing outside the lines, as it were. Or if you disagree with them or how they've done something, then you're ostracized. So I've seen that happen, and I've probably, it's, I generally don't care. But anyways, I try my best to lead by example, and I want to teach others to lead. I don't want you to follow me, like, in that sense. I want to empower you to be able to, build your own empire, to build your own, stairway to ascension. And I guess I'll just kind of end on that. To lead by example is to teach others to lead and to not follow. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I love you all. Hail yourself.